Ministry projects. There's 3 ways you can serve: pray, give, and go. In 3 different areas: metro, national, international. So we tell our folks, you may not be able to go and serve in this mission project because you physically can't do it, but you can pray about those people, and you can pray for the missionary or whoever the church has adopted, and you can give maybe financially so someone else can go. I thought about this, really came to light one day. I was in our oldest senior adult class making an announcement, and this college-age girl came up after me, and she could hardly speak, and she started tearing up, and she goes, "I just came to thank this class today. Because of you, my life will never be the same." And she said, "Y'all prayed for me, and you paid my way to go to our mission trip to China. And I'm here to tell you, as your missionary, why my life will never be the same, and how this class impacted China." Well, everyone in there was crying by the time she was through. And I walked out of there, and I thought, that's how those 75-year-olds and up adopted China. They prayed and they gave so someone who physically could go could go. That's what we're talking about here. It's not always pray, give, and go. Sometimes it's just we're going to pray about it, this ministry project as a class, or we're going to pray and we're going to give, or we're going to pray, give, and go, some of our people. So what we do as a church is we'll identify mission partners that we're going to partner with, locally, nationally, internationally, and then our Sunday school classes will choose what they want to do and support. We don't just go to the Sunday school classes and go, "Okay, y'all go find stuff y'all want to do," because there's a lot of great ministries out there that don't align with your church doctrinally, and they really just want money a lot sometimes, and we don't want to just turn that loose. We want to do the homework as a missions team or church staff, and then we present them to our adult classes and say, here are things you can do as a class. So, Metro is anything outside the walls of your classroom. So it may be in the community, like feeding the homeless, building a habitat home as a church. We've done those kind of things. We built a community center in a real bad neighborhood, and now our Sunday school classes go and staff that every day for ministry things that we do in that neighborhood. But it also could be things in the church that your class adopts. For example, our biggest Metro project is an adult class adopting a preschool class in our church and providing 2 workers every week to a particular preschool class to help the full-time worker that's in there. So that's a great ministry for the church, and it's something that our adult classes can do. Worst thing we do with our preschool is we let our volunteer preschool coordinator beg and plead for workers, where really it's the adults that are populating the preschool anyway. So we ought to be willing to go and help minister to the babies in our church. And so every able-bodied adult Sunday school class in our church will say, why don't you become a preschool partner and provide 2 people each week to that class. Now y'all can rotate 2 people in, so they're not missing class every week. The other thing is, if they say, well, we don't want to do that, well, why don't you be a preschool pinch hitter, which means once a month you're on call. And that preschool people, when they have a crisis, they need people. They can come to your class, say, we need your pinch hitters today. And you got 2 people ready to go help. So, it's not the ideal way to always provide for the preschool, but it's better than doing nothing. And the preschool people are pulling their hair out, wondering how we're going to staff these classes. But that's a great local type project. Another thing like that is we have a class that comes up every week and does all the mail-outs and the folding and everything for anything we're going to send out as a church. And it saves our assistants hours of time, and they come up and have fun doing that. So that's local stuff. National is partnering like with churches we've helped up here You know, we've had teams that come up and partner, and y'all have things y'all can do with other churches. You know, it changes the way classes look at themselves. When the class has been to Russia, some people of their class went to Russia in the winter and attended the worship service where there was inadequate heat, and all the windows were open because people were so full that people were outside the building in the snow to hear the worship. Well, how do you think those people are going to come back to their comfortable little church in Oregon on Sunday? Do you think they're going to complain that their room's a little cold that day? Or that something's not right in their room? No, they're going, we are so blessed in our church. How could we ever complain? Those people I went to Cuba one year. We built a 1,500-seat auditorium in Cuba, in Moa, Cuba. And I got to preach like the first week it was open. And that was the greatest worship experience I've ever been in 3 hours of music with 1,500 youth that walked, some of them walked a week to get there. And I was overcome when I got up to talk, and I said the worst thing you could say. I was like, this is the greatest worship experience I've ever been a part of, my translator. And I said, I just wish I could take all of y'all back to America. Ah! He goes, don't say that again. Because they were ready to go. But, you know, I looked at worship different when I came home. Well, that's what's happening in our adult classes. They don't look at themselves the same when they're out serving other people. And so I challenge you, if you're not doing that as a Sunday school class, find something you can do outside of yourself, and it'll change your class. We had our 30th anniversary in June, and we decided we wanted to give back to the community instead of just throw a party for ourselves. And so we picked all these projects in the community we were going to do, and we had about 8,000 T-shirts made, and we went recruiting our people to serve. Well, we first went to the adult Sunday school classes and said, y'all sign up as a class. We had 6,000 people volunteer, and 4,500 of them signed up in their adult Sunday school class before we ever opened it up church-wide. But that told me that our people are used to serving together as a class. And when you get people serving together as a class, they have fun. You know, they go out and build a home to get Habitat home together, or home for a needy family, and they're out there having fun together. And it's like a fellowship, but they're serving.